Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so who knows when this is going to upload because this is being done on the other phone. I'm having issues with both phones now, so it's just a lot going on, but at least the NBA season is over to where it's not so incumbent I make videos right away. But yeah man, Lakers season is over. I don't know about the NBA season, but yeah, I did some good today. Didn't do too much as far as walking like I'd like to, because today is Sunday, so of course Bible studies at 4:30. I didn't have time to do my regular hiking, but I walked around to just straight to Target and straight back. So essentially I was able to get this walk in to and from down Lancashire. But other than that, I didn't really have the time. Kind of overslept a little bit because I went to sleep early last night around 7:30. Woke up at like midnight with the intentions of doing some art, and I did it. So I stayed after that till like, got up and showered and all that. And I didn't go back to sleep till like 3:30. And I felt a lot of favor in my life last night because my alarm, the what do they call it? Smoke detector, was beeping uncontrollably at like 1:30 in the morning. All the other days that I've been here in this room where it's malfunctioning, it's in the day, but last night it was 1:30. But I just so happened to be during that hour doing art with my headphones on, listening to my latest playlist. So it was like the enemy tried to throw something at me that would otherwise keep me up at night. The reality was it was the only night that I would otherwise not be asleep or annoyed by the noise. So I had to keep getting up and hitting the button, and by the time I was done doing my art and it was time to actually go to sleep, it had stopped. So felt a lot of favor in that, but it was very annoying just the same. And so yeah man, I ended up of course not waking up till like 9:30 after going to sleep at like 3:30 or something like that, and felt pretty fresh, but it did kind of set me back a little bit on this Sunday, for which it's a lot of, you got to try to cram in a short amount of time. So that's really what it is. Just trying to make it back for Bible study, but did my grocery shopping, at least as much of it as I wanted to, and head back. But yeah man, ain't nothing going on really in my life. I got the room day coming up and be moving on from this room, doing the whole motel thing on Thursday. So I had to be kind of mindful of how much groceries I actually want to lug back and forth, as it pertains to buying too much and then having too much to carry with me. But I did decide to get a little something, so hopefully it measures up to make sense. But yeah man, it's just a lot of stuff going on in the world today. Of course, you guys know we talk about Gaza every time we get a chance. And in this situation, it's not really as much about Gaza as I'm talking about our country, U.S., and what they're trying to do to get us not to boycott Gaza being bombed and the genocide taking place in Palestine, and most importantly, boycotting Israel. They're trying to make it illegal for people to boycott Israel. They were, from what I understand, Congress was voting on a bill 2 nights ago that essentially would have you be punished to up to 20 years in prison for boycotting Israel. And my thing is, I'm just curious to know what they're telling people. How are they getting this off? How are they getting this? Like, clearly we know what it is. People who are following the genocide and all of that know what's up. People who are following any of this close enough, whatever they say, it doesn't matter. But I'm just curious to know what they're telling people. What are they? Are they just pretending this is not happening? What are they telling people that their interest is in regards to making us support Israel against our basic U.S. constitutional rights? Like, what's the excuse here? What are they actually selling the people who are paying attention to this? Are they just saying we roll with Israel no matter what? Like, I heard there was a town in Texas, a little town in Texas, who found that $4 million of their tax dollars, and it's only a town of a couple thousand people, $4 million of their tax dollars has been going straight to Israel. And when they tried to divest away from that, when they said that they were unhappy with that, they were essentially told that they had no choice. That's where the money was going, and they have no right to determine where their tax dollar goes, just that they pay it. and the country determines that wherever it goes, and they've determined that their money is their $4 million worth of tax dollars is supposed to go to Israel. And I'm just curious, like, where do they think this is headed? This is what I ask these people. Like, I understand that they're following Israeli orders, but where do they think this is headed as it pertains to people being fine with this? Like, I would ask the Israeli people, the government specifically, like, do you expect people are going to just sit back and be comfortable with this because you're better than us, and so therefore we are just, as goys, supposed to just roll over? Like, I'm not really sure if they really kind of are in touch with the U.S. public enough to know that once people start getting a whiff of this, they're going to start acting stupid and acting a fool. Like, you could put stuff in law that makes it so that we support Israel to no end, and making it impossible for us to boycott, making it impossible for us to protest, threaten us with 1,000,000 years. But what it really comes down to is it's actually going to be found to be unconstitutional, and then the people that you put in place to force this, they're going to face reprimands. I think everybody kind of knows that's where this is headed. Like, half of this stuff they're doing is not legal, nor is it sustainable in any way. But since they're doing whatever Israel tells them to do, it's kind of like we're ignoring the Constitution, we're ignoring a lot. But when you do that, it creates civil unrest. It creates people boycotting in different ways. It creates people digging into stuff that maybe you would rather them not. It creates an awareness. Just like I always say, when you shine a light on somebody by way of reprimanding them in public, what you end up doing is creating the curiosity for why they've been reprimanded, creating the curiosity for why it's so important that they do. And then the people start answering questions, finding answers to questions that otherwise they wouldn't be asking if you just not make a spectacle out of the whatever the punishment is you're trying to enforce. And so this is another one of those where I just think America is so, for whatever set of reasons, intentional on following whatever Israel is telling them to do, that they're kind of allowing Israel to back themselves into a space where ultimately they're going to have so much attention on them and so much hate pointed at them. From within our country, from within everyone who's paying attention to them. I mean, eventually it's just, this is what I've come to understand, and I've been talking about this type of concept for a long time, but when you point your attention to somebody in a negative way, all you're actually doing is welcoming the anger or the hatred or the resentment that comes with that. So is the object of the game truly to impose your hate upon others, or are you not aware in a lot of cases that the object of the game is actually to have hatred pointed back at you? This is the lost variable that often comes with ideologies that are meant to impose intolerance or hatred or any type of ism or what have you. What you end up doing is creating an environment for which people resent you for it, and then all the consequences that come from that end up being something you have to defend against. Now, a lot of people think they have to defend against things that are not there, so they can psych themselves into those positions just based on the fact that they're being, paranoid, defensive, and think the worst of others. But you are more likely to have less to worry about, less to look over your shoulder about, if you just let people be themselves and leave them alone and keep whatever your interests are in regards to your feelings about them to yourself. And this is what Israel's doing. This is what a lot of hateful groups all over the world, in whatever way, they shape or form they are, in support of different things that are intolerant of others, fail to really respect, is that anytime you go about your intention, you are putting a target on your neck or on your back. You're putting a target on yourself. No different than any other person that sides with anyone against anyone else. You're putting a target on your back. You do better just being polite, shaking your head, nodding at people and keeping walking, than sticking your chest out, putting your finger up at everybody, because essentially you're daring all of them to react to that, and people will. Factions will. Groups will react to that. And so my question is, after so much data of this as a human being, and so many stories and so many different variations of this, When are we going to start understanding that every time we look to be intolerant or hateful toward anybody, that the real result of that is actually just putting a target on you back? And furthermore, making it, deteriorating your reputation in the environment of the world's environment. Every time I see a Klansman or any type of energy like that, I just say, man, they surely want people to hate them. They surely want to be attacked for their actions and their beliefs. They surely want people to test out their defenses. That's what comes to mind at this point in my life. I don't think much anything else. Boy, they sure want to weaponize their evil against the people that look like them. Weaponize their hatred against people that look like them. You know, that's what I want to start normalizing, people looking at things that way. Because that's exactly what people are doing. You know, I think about this lady that's put up a GoFundMe after she was recorded saying the N-word to a child. I guess that child did something that she didn't like to her child, and she was recorded being confronted by a man who said that she said the N-word, and she doubled down on the word. She was speaking to a 5-year-old child. She had a 5-year-old child of her own. I guess they were at a park or something. And as a result, you start seeing her put up a GoFundMe talking about she doesn't feel safe and she didn't feel like she did anything wrong. In fact, she's just called the kid what he is. And I'm just like, yo, do you have any idea how much danger, more or less, you welcome to your people when you put out those images for people to see? How much hate you welcome to your people when you allow yourselves to be seen being hateful toward people, least of all children? It's like no one ever taught people who hate people this part of the equation. That part gets lost in all of this. They think they can walk around safe, or they think their defenses are strong enough to fend off all the attacks that could be potentially coming their way, or the karmatic aspect of it. It's like you don't really understand how much damage you do to you and your people when you walk around with intentions of being intolerant toward others. You're creating an environment for which people do not like you, who are going to celebrate your suffering even further. If your intention is to not be hated or to be protected, if she says she don't feel safe because now everybody in her mind is coming after her, so she needed a GoFundMe, which is really a con against her own people, which is furthermore what we're talking about. She's sitting up here getting all types of donations from all different types of people who agree with her decision. Mostly racists and KKK members, people like that, who are paying her. And the first thing that came to mind for me is not, oh, what a terrible world, it's so racist. The first thing that came to mind for me is, man, these suckers. She cashing out on all these racist suckers. They want to pay her for something that she should likely be scolded for. I say cash out. You're a single mother, racist is all hell, evil it has come, but if other evil people who agree with you are stupid enough to give you money because you did something that was awful, damn it, cash out on them. That was my attitude, like, wow, she really conned all these dumb racists. All these dumb racists who I think most of the time, and I feel the same way about the Carmelo Anthony situation, when people were paying Carmelo Anthony GoFundMe, most of the time people are just reacting to things like this that have happened on the other end. Because people are caught up in their race politics, you know what I mean? So whether Carmelo Anthony was in the right or wrong, there's a lot of black people who was pouring into his GoFundMe, just like we've seen white people pour into Dylan Roof's GoFundMe. It's like the racists, those who are caught up in the racist propaganda and racist individuals, and people who are reacting to racist individuals, are just looking at the skin color of the person, whether they're right or wrong, and just pouring money into their GoFundMe. And it's a con, yo. It's a con that could be taken advantage of at this point. And that's exactly what I think is going on right there. Them suckers. I wouldn't be surprised if her and the dude that was recording that split the money. And they set it up that way. Not that I think that that's what could happen, but they sure could have. The opportunity for that to be possible is real. And she done made what? Almost more than $500,000 off of people who were celebrating her because she said something evil to a child. Am I supposed to be mad at her? Or mad at them? Hey, a bunch of idiots. Everybody's stupid there, man. Nobody's actually aware of what's good for them. That's what I see. There's a bunch of people who are not aware of what's good for them. People who are working in the devil's confusion and self-destructive energy. You're making it so that more people hate you, more people celebrate your suffering. More people want to see you gone. More people want to see you locked away. More people want to see people who look like you locked away. You are the biggest weapon to your own people when you go around wearing their skin while hating others. And that's not limited to nobody. That's everybody. When you walk around with your intention of being hateful toward people, you end up making it easier for people to hate people who look like you. So every time you do this, you create a reputation that makes it very easy for people to say, yo, this is how they are. So next time one of them is in trouble, I'm going to ignore it. Next time one of them needs some help, I'm definitely turning the other way. Next time one of them wants to sit next to me on the bus, I ain't letting them. That's the type of energy that you welcome, just the smallest and the biggest of negative reactions to your own people. And given the fact that whites been doing this to one another since the beginning, it's really rough. It's really rough for them. And that's the truth. For people who are non-racist, white people, I can only imagine the type of looks you get from certain people who think of people who did evil things while wearing your skin. Because white supremacy and the way it's weaponized its own interests against its own people is not talked about enough. At all. We love talking about how black people don't take accountability and how bad when we stand up and promote cultures that have been in our lives for however long that are self-destructive, how bad it makes us look. But the future is going to be about how that type of colonialism and unapologetic, better than everybody else attitude is going to have on the white race going forward. And I really think it's unfortunate, just like in any other situation, it's unfortunate when people walk around with their chest out, representing other people, saying and doing things that are awful, that make people hate them. It's going to be good people that end up getting hurt in response to that energy. Indifferent people who don't have a problem with nobody that end up getting targeted when people start acting out in them situations. Not the people who are looking to do it, not the people who are actually guilty of whatever, what have you energy, but the people who look like them that end up getting attacked for their points of views. And this is why it's incumbent upon your own people to, if not hold people accountable for these actions, do a damn good job of being loud against that energy within yourself. It is so important that we show examples outside of these stereotypes in our respective communities. To be one more example of what is not in that regard. White supremacy has done a number on its people, man. Just like it's done a number on mine, but it's really done a number on their own reputation. It's done a number on how people look at y'all going forward. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be much tougher for the people alive today, tomorrow rather, than it is for the people alive today. It's gonna be much tougher, man. When this genocide starts becoming a bit more understood amongst the common person, because it's really not quite where it's headed, but Israel keeps doing what they're doing, bringing forth a reason for people to look into it. You know what I'm saying? Doing everything they can to make people say, yo, what's up with this Israel crap? And then when they go into it and they start looking and seeing what's there, now you got more people willing to divest, more people willing to boycott, more people willing to look against them and become radicalized against their nonsense. And that's why I say the devil always works in some self-destructive way that he ain't aware of. Devilish confusion. We talk about it every day. Devilish confusion. Thinking that you bring yourself one thing when you're actually welcoming something else. Thinking that you actually have a chance against God. Thinking that you're actually going to win, even though clearly the energy that you bring brings about bad consequences for those who engage in it. You think you're exempt from that. It's just confusion. It's more than obvious. It's like a wizardry or a warping upon one's mind. Because every experience of that, any testimony of that type of behavior, any type of story we've heard of these type of behaviors, we see what comes of it. But people still think they're exempt from it. People still don't understand the wisdom or what have you, and just continue to move forward in negative energy and bring about negative consequences. And be so damn shocked when those consequences come. It's devilish confusion. And so that's my point of view on that. That lady, I wasn't surprised by none of that, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was only a few people pouring all that money into there, using fake accounts to do it. For reasons that probably don't have nothing to do with any authentic energy. See, that's what came to mind for me. How many of the people who paid into her were bots? How many people that paid into her were on fake accounts that don't go back to nowhere? They draw back to somewhere like India. Trying to make it look as if she's in an environment that supports more of what she does louder than it actually is. Because there's a lot of energy out there that's meant to create a divide. You see it on social media, and in situations like this are easily manipulated. If I can fathom it, somebody smarter than me is thinking of it and probably doing it. I'm sure there were some people who supported her and poured into her to GoFundMe, but the absorbent amount that she received, I wouldn't be surprised if that came from one party in the form of many different fake accounts. Because they want us to be up in arms about our racial politics. And these circumstances that keep popping up that seem to be so very talked about and so very loud and so very on camera, every so often, every couple of 6-7 months, all of a sudden there's something that's supposed to get me up in arms about being black versus white people, and get a white person up in arms about being white versus black people. And it stirs the pot even more, making us so very resentful of one another, so very defensive of one another. It's manipulatable. It's divide and conquer. It's the same old crap, man. Ain't nothing new. That's why I never really bought into a lot of these demonstrations, these displays. Never really bought into some of this stuff. I still don't really believe some of what it is that I saw with the George Floyd situation. I still think that was orchestrated. To this very second, I think that was orchestrated. I saw it live, basically. That's what I want people to understand. I was wide awake when that happened. Wide awake. It was one of the rare days where I woke up in the morning at like 5:30, and this is not the first time something like that has happened, something monumental I'll be able to see live when it happened. But it was on like 2-minute tape delay. The George Floyd situation was like a 2-minute tape delay. I watched it. And I just said, man, this feels like a demonstration, bro. And then when you fast forward a month and a half, 2 months to what it ended up being, I'm like, yo, man, that was some bullshit. Nobody believes that. I just tell you it didn't pass the vibe test. The whole thing didn't pass the vibe test. It looked like it was put on for us to see. And when you fast forward to what ended up coming of it, it's like, yo, that played into so much nonsense. That created so much of an environment of racial confusion. And I think a million other situations are the same way. Probably a million other demonstrations are the same way. And there's a world where something like that naturally occurs, and then the opportunist machine hops in and takes advantage of it, having it function the same way. It don't have to be a demonstration. It could just be, we're ready, and when it happens, we'll know what to do type thing. But I do believe a lot of this stuff, one way or another, is manipulated for our, what's the word, to instigate people and have them caught up in their racial politics, or whatever you want to call it in this 2025 era. Be up in arms about my ego as a black person and your ego as a white person, or what have you. Meanwhile, Israel's controlling a lot. A whole lot. 9/11, definitely an Israeli operation. I don't give a damn what nobody said. At this point in time, we have too much proof. Too much proof to think that that was done by anybody other than them. I think it's almost understood by anybody paying attention to this genocide that 9/11 was an Israeli operation. Just like 10/7 was an Israeli operation. And so a lot of stuff I think is them because they control our government in such a way that they going against stuff that just 10 years ago they would have went out of their way not to go against. Now it's like the Constitution, not as important as making sure that we, in blatant plain sight, support Israel even against that Constitution. It's like, at this point, they control the government in such a way to where you got people who are legitimately brave, afraid to speak. You got people who legitimately want to stand up saying, nah, they probably going to end up getting... They control so much till it's not really feasible not to think that consequences are going to be so horrible if I speak against these people. And my thing is, I got God. I don't really care about that. Like, it's literally that simple for me. This ain't nothing to think about. I'm going to stand on the side of God whether the whole world is against me or not. I don't care. Whether the whole world thinks I'm wrong, whether... I don't imagine that my life is supposed to go any other way than the way against that for which is evil. So whatever comes of me because of that is definitely what's supposed to happen. That's how I live. That's how my faith is set up in 2025. I really ain't interested in the consequences that the devil wants to provide me for doing good. That's not real. That's fake energy. That's not real energy. And that's what I want people to understand. I don't give a damn how much the devil think he control, how much it looks like he control, how many consequences I see for going against his energy. There will never be a day where I look at anything he does and see anything other than fear and mistakenness every single solitary time, man. The devil can do one thing, be wrong, that's it. Whatever he got going on, whatever he trying to do, whatever he has demonstrated to people who don't have any faith and are afraid of him, however many people he got supporting him, how loud they are, all of those different things, they hold so little consequence in the grand scheme of what the Lord is actually doing. Whatever he thinks he's doing, whatever he thinks he's going to do, whatever he's done to somebody else who did what it is that shouldn't be in regards to him, demonstrations of how they've been able to assassinate people who are willing to speak up and all these different things. They hold no consequences in the hearts and the minds of those who are actually assassinated, because they know their purpose is to speak up. If they wanted to save their life, they wouldn't talk. You see what I'm saying? If they thought there was another path that the Lord would be more pleased with, or that would have better consequences for the things that they were actually interested in, they would just shut up like the rest of y'all. The devil is going to control the earth as long as we allow him to. That's really what it comes down to. And as long as we adhere to the things that he provides, he can always put up the guise that he's in so much control and that we are in so much trouble if we defy him. He's always going to be able to do that. As long as he has control of people's interests and if people are interested in receiving so much, hoarding so much for themselves, sin nature, fearful of what happens when they do the right thing. As long as people live that way, he's going to be able to control many people who are on the fence about whether or not they should believe in God in that same exact way. I'm not confused by that just because I'm watching this version of human beings in this era do that. A lot of people made that same mistake leading up to where we're at, man. This is just one of many. And that's the thing, it's like nothing new under the sun. Nothing that we're seeing is any new, man. We've seen people commit genocide. We've seen people think they're better than others. We've seen evil kings chop off the heads of 1 million people just because they didn't like how the joke was told or whatever. We've seen crazy tyrants before. None of this is new, man. Human beings are making the same mistakes over and over again. There's nothing new here, man. Honest to God, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's the same old tired human beings running in this what do they call it? In a hamster wheel, not getting anywhere in their evolution. This is the same old crap that people were doing. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Not to point out just one type of people, because I know that many people engage in this type of evil. Do you understand what I'm saying? This isn't limited to just one type of person or one race of people. You see African people. I've seen footage of African people, black people, doing horrible tyranny, cannibalism and injustice and crazy devilish type stuff, eating people and stuff like that. I've seen that. My people are not exempt from horrible human degenerate behavior. Absolutely not. But when it comes to white supremacy, they really have made a reputation of doing what they're doing now. And because people were so afraid to hold them accountable, and so many people were so distracted in the current times or whatever they were doing, just like we are right now, same old hamster wheel, they were able to get away with it and build upon that energy. Build this place, build UK, build Australia. You know what I mean? Like, they were able to really, like, get away with it. But there's a different tool in place, and it's called technology, and it's just not the same world. You do a lot of this stuff, and you're going to bring about different consequences to yourself in the short and long term, to your reputation, short and long term, than your ancestors. Because there wasn't nobody holding cameras up with footage of this stuff that's going to be captured in the cloud for all time. This generation's the one that's doing all of that stuff, because they try to do what their ancestors did without taking into account the evolution of the tools and technology that we have to hold them accountable and expose them for all time. So I just want to say, man, this is why I speak the way I do. Not only because I'm trying to inform people who are alive today, because I'm trying to document the fact that not everybody was like this. And not everybody was so afraid of Israel that we wouldn't speak up. Not everybody was so locked up in devil's ways that we would just allow for people's children to suffer and stuff like that just because it was so much of an influence in the place we in. No, some people really spoke up. Some people really cared, man. Some people weren't really interested in the devil's consequences for what happens when you do the right thing. And the consequences that the devil will place upon your head for going against him. I'm not really interested in him. Right? God knows I'm not interested in him. The devil, I'm not interested, bro. Tell it to somebody else. The devil's a liar. And one of the biggest lies that he's been able to tell is that he isn't real. And one of the other biggest lies that he's been able to tell is that he has the final say about any dang thing. He don't. He doesn't. And as I tell y'all, man, I don't have to look far from within my own story to know how serious God is about really everything. Because I've seen God's wrath in my own life pointed at me. I don't have to look at nobody else and say, what happened to them? Man, God came down on them. No, I just look at myself. I look at my own story and see when I was messing up, to know how serious God was. What came to me with that same voice that I trust now. When I was doing the wrong thing, that voice told me some things. Like, if you don't stop this, I'm going to do that. And did it. And did it. Harsh, man. Harsh. That's the confidence I walk around with in regards to defying Israel and defying the U.S. government when they tell me not to boycott Israel or not to protest against Israel, not to speak up against Israel. Like, fam, I already know God is not playing with me. Okay? So I definitely know he ain't playing with you. So you can run around telling me that there's so many consequences that are going to fall on my head for telling the truth. And I'm telling you, I'd rather face those consequences than to find the Lord unhappy with me. And not only that, but I actually don't want to see y'all doing this to kids, bro. I don't like seeing people's children in pieces. I don't imagine that's the most intelligent statement in the world, but it is what it is. I don't particularly like seeing kids dead. And then watching others who support it dancing around and running around like they untouchable and stealing people's land, all this type of stuff, people starving, and other people are trying to bring themselves and their children to where the aid is and stomping the aid out and busting holes in the water that's supposed to be saving other children. Like, I don't particularly like seeing people raise children to be evil and hateful toward other people. I don't particularly like that. I think it's a terrible look. And Israel does that. That's exactly what they're about. And then they, of course, they'll turn around and every accusation is a confession, so they'll tell you that the people they're doing it to raise their kids to be hateful. But it's like when you see what's actually there, you realize that no, that's just them continuing on the same playbook, telling people that this is what it is when they're actually the ones doing what it is that they're claiming. It's a copy and paste type of tactic that they use to manipulate the people who are paying attention to them, to manipulate people. It's all about mind control and image control and propaganda with them. And anytime they do anything to anybody, they put themselves in those people's position and then claim whatever they're doing is stuff that's being done to them. That's just, it's just the same old playbook with those folks. And so when you look back on so many different variations of how this was pointed at black people, growing up, I used to see that type of stuff pointed at black people. Now I see white supremacy doing that to black people. It's like, oh, that's the same old Zionist playbook. Y'all using that same old devilish playbook. I'm willing to bet y'all got that written in some type of scripture that y'all follow or something. Because it's the same stuff y'all do over and over again. It's like a colonial practice. I'm sure it's written somewhere. Like, this is how you do it. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm not even in the slightest driven by their threats or their laws as it pertains to me not doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing, which is speaking up against it with my voice. I can't be. You see what I'm saying? I can't be. Because to be that is to pretend like I don't know what I already know, which is that God is real and is not playing with any of us. Now, once I started hearing to the fake God that is American government in Israel, then it's me denouncing the God that has already punished me from pissing him off. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm not afforded the ability to do. The best thing I can do is say, God, please protect me from those who want to punish me for doing what it is you want me to do. Make me strong enough to endure the suffering that they intend to afflict upon me, and make me strong enough and convincing enough to make my voice worth it. That's the best I can do. Because once I start saying, oh man, I better shut up and let these people kill these kids, I better shut up and just let these people starve these people, I better shut up and pay into Israeli products, or I'm gonna go to jail for 10 years. Like, trust me, man, the jail that it leads me to is exactly where the Lord would likely want me to go. Because being free out here for defying him is worse. It's worse. I guarantee you it's worse. For those of us, for people like me, it's worse. Whatever the hell we gonna find out here in the free land is gonna be significantly more damned than the jail that they gonna send me to for doing what it is God told me to do. Because when you know God and you already felt his wrath in your life, a little taste of it, then you're not afforded the ability to play like you don't understand this. I'm not afforded the ability to pretend like I don't understand this. And it's unfortunate to a degree, because ignorance is bliss. But when it really comes down to it, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. There have been times where I've meditated on Israel, specifically Israel. And the Lord would kind of let me know, like, he's not pleased with it. I told you a couple weeks ago, he gave me this 3 cutthroat kind of mind motioning while I was meditating. And so, like, he's made it clear to me that he ain't pleased with them, right? But a few nights ago, I think it was 2 nights ago, while I was meditating on this, and I'm going to tell you guys the truth, I didn't really get the full energy of what the Lord's trying to say. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I'm not able to get the full message. When I'm praying about certain things, certain people, I may get a word or two, but I can't hear the whole message. Maybe it's because I'm not quite out of my sin nature, or maybe I'm just not that strong of a person spiritually yet, or maybe it's just not meant for me to hear the whole thing. But one word that the Lord said was Israel to me a few nights ago. Whatever he was trying to say, he was mentioning them to me. The word Israel popped up specifically from that random voice that I heard. That was the first time I actually ever heard him word out the word Israel to me a few nights ago. Didn't hear nothing else, didn't feel any other energy, just one word, Israel. I don't know what he was trying to say. And it bothers me that I wasn't able to hear or receive the whole message, but I'd imagine it wasn't meant for me to. But I think the point was still driven home, is that he's addressing them spiritually. He's addressing them spiritually. I've been telling y'all that God's not happy with these people, and I've been certain of that. But not necessarily because he had been telling me anything, and I thought I made that very clear. I didn't think the Lord was telling me much about his wrath coming against Israel or whatever. It was just that based on the behavior of these folks and how they're operating and trying to control my country and trying to control our people, trying to control everybody all over the world with whatever influence they have, to allow them to do whatever they want to do, which happens to be horrible things. That by way of that math, clearly the God ain't happy with them. Clearly this is a reason for God to bring forth wrath. But this is the first time, 2 nights ago, the first time where I genuinely felt like the Lord was trying to mouth to me the word Israel. And so I don't know what you're going to take from that. I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's getting to a point where the Lord, it seemed like he's ready to discuss them specifically to me. And so I don't know what that means. I don't know. All I'm saying is this: it won't be me, the person who believes he's in tapped in with God the way that I believe I am, the way he's proven to me already a million times over that I'm tapped in. It ain't gonna be me sitting here adhering to them when I feel stuff like this in my life, when I have this type of communication or insertion of energy, specific energy into my heart and mind from something out there that makes me think that I need to adhere to people out here as it pertains to what they're trying to do. I'm not telling you what you should do, because there are going to be a lot of people who are going to suffer, going to go to jail, get deported, get killed. I'm just saying, if you have the same convictions I do, this is how I'm moving. I'm not moving in fear when it comes to this. Not when it comes to this. I cannot. It's not driven. I'm not driven by fear when I'm talking about Israel. I'm not driven by fear when I'm talking about genocide. I'm not driven by fear. And so that's what I'm telling you guys, man. Be safe. Understand that there is a lot of reasons for average humans, average people, to be fearful of these people, because they are trying to control us in ways that are not unconstitutional, I guess is the word. Since we put so much of an emphasis on Constitution, how it's supposed to protect us, it is not protecting us when it comes to Israel at all. In modern times, 2025, they are throwing our Constitution away so that those over there and their alignment and the people that control them, or the people they control rather, are feeling as if the American people are supporting them, even when it's against the American people's choice to do so. And that means they have such a stranglehold on our democracy, or whatever you want to call this thing, that there will be strong consequences for people like myself going forward for talking about Israel. There will be strong consequences. But I tell you, just like I tell anybody else, there are even stronger consequences for not. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.